Hi, it's Fiona Lewis here from Super Savvy Business with the latest podcast interview. Now, as you all know, one of my projects that I have a big space in is Mumpreneurs Online, and that business is all about helping mothers work from home and primarily use the internet as a way to get their business out there to others. So I'm always on the lookout for ways to be able to help mums and to find people that I can bring into the community that is going to be beneficial for them. Now, only a couple of weeks ago, I was put in contact by a fellow entrepreneur with two other entrepreneurs who are onto something really exciting. They're in the middle of a project which I believe is going to be transformational for many mothers who are wanting to work from home but are trying to find the best way to get it out there and a really good vehicle to show other people what they're doing. Now, I'll introduce these two people to you. The first person I'd like to introduce is Tom Bass. Now, Tom is in project sales marketing and real estate by day, but he's also a budding entrepreneur by night. He's majored in spatial design at the College of Fine Arts, but he wanted something more engaging than staring at a computer screen all day and working on somebody else's ideas, so he went into sales instead. However, the urge to dream and create something of his own was simply too great. So, with his 30th birthday looming less than a year away, he made a promise to himself that it was now or never, and he dived in with this new project, which we're going to be revealing in just a moment. The other person who is partnering with Tom on this new project is Sebastian or Seb Hulst. Now, Sebastian is from the Netherlands and he has a background as an industrial designer. He's worked for small-sized companies and at the moment he's working as a senior software developer for a Sydney startup. Now, like Tom, he's always wanted to work on his own ideas, so he enrolled in a course to help him get started, and that's where he and Tom met, and they started working on this wonderful project. So, guys, I'm not going to reveal what this project is yet because I'd actually like you to do that, but first of all, I'd just like to welcome you both to the call today. And this is the Super Savvy Business Show and bringing you live to the Mumpreneurs Online podcast as well. So guys, I've met with the both of you, and as I said in the introduction, I'm always on the lookout for ways to be able to help mothers, to support mothers who are wanting to find a leveraged way to be able to work from home in and around their families. And when I heard about your project, I was really super excited. So first of all, before we go into what this project is, I've given you both a bit of an intro, but do you want to maybe tell our listeners a little bit more about yourselves?
I work in real estate as project sales marketing, so we just sell brand new off-plan properties. It's rather dull, but you do get to meet some very interesting people. But at the end of the day, like Fiona said earlier, it's I really want to be creating something of my own. I've got other passions as well. I've got several other hobbies. I do a bit of photography. I actually was part of a global street art project last year called Be the Change, and we had our work on display as part of Art and About down at Barangaroo. And also do a bit of community radio DJing on Radio Northern Beaches. So, just trying to find where my true passions lie and then trying to make something of that as opposed to just shoehorning myself into a particular career path. So went and did met Seb, and we thought, well, why don't we say, or I take photography for instance, and go, all right, let's create a platform where we can put up our, tell a story as to why we're passionate about our photography, put up portfolios, talk about the various things on how we do it, how we offer it, and then broaden that to encompass all these different hobbies that other people love to do and let them turn it into a product that they can sell. So that's sort of how I got into it. How about you, Seb?
Well, I started basically working for a software company, and they were a startup in Sydney. And they've now moved overseas, so they're in Silicon Valley, and they're starting to make it, which actually makes me feel like shit. I've got all these ideas, and I keep working for people who get to develop their ideas instead of working on my own ideas, which I have plenty of as well. So I went to this course called From Corporate to Freedom, where we met, where Tom and me met, and we just ran some ideas, and we ended up with this idea called SureDo, which we'll introduce in a second. And we just kept on going back like, okay, we need to find a way for all these people that have all these hobbies to actually have a really simple way of putting it online and build a community and build a following. Well, that's actually where Sure started off with.
So is this whole idea of this business concept of yours has really been born from your own frustrations and difficulties around getting your passionate ideas out there?
Very much so. We've looked at existing platforms out there, places such as freelancer.com. Of course, you've got Gumtree, you just put classified ads. You've got Airtasker, which is taking off here, and then in the US you've got TaskRabbit, and lots of similar places. But they're all centered on the job, the task at hand, and the price. There's nothing that really lets you as a person, as a passionate person who loves doing what you do, to really tell your story and start branding yourself that way so that it's not about a race to the bottom. So this guy's charging $45 an hour to do this. I want to charge 50 because, I will do a better job. I'm more passionate about it than he is. I can show that my process is superior. But 9 times out of 10, people just go, oh, he's good enough. It's sort of like, it's very salesy in a way. You're sort of, fighting tooth and nail, bidding, trying to underbid the next guy. And we're trying to avoid that with a platform like this to make it far more authentic and genuine and put the focus back onto the person.
It also allows for, instead of having indeed just a product out there and say this costs $45 or I'm having the service and I will charge 50, it's not focused on that. It's much more like, this is my passion, this is what I like to do, this is how I work. And that's the thing that connects people, instead of being like, well, I'm competing with this Joe because, well, he's making the same thing. That's not the thing. In general, two people who are doing exactly the same thing come up with completely different workways and completely different results, because one is passionate about it and the other one, he has been doing it so long and is so bored with doing it actually that he will not give you the same result. So it just is very difficult if you only focus on products to show like I'm genuinely better at doing this because I have a lot more passion to do it. And that's what SureDo is targeting.
So just to make it clear to our listeners today, what you guys are in the process of putting together is a platform for people who have a hobby or a passion, whether it be in creating a product or delivering a service. It's a platform for these people to come and to market this product or service, but coming from the perspective that it's not just about the product and service, it's about the story behind the person and why it is they do what they do and why they're good at it. Is that right?
Yes, that's very much correct. And another very important part of this is actually the community building aspect, because there are many people who are in the same boat as we are, who, they don't really particularly like their day jobs or they can't really work full time, but they do have, something that they really want to make some extra income out of, or perhaps even as a safe test platform to see if they can actually move into a new career path. And in this instance, having a community of people giving you constant feedback, or even having access to people who are actually further down your skill path, so to speak, for the particular thing that you're doing. And that can really be helpful in terms of getting mentors or even just skilling up and pushing your own passions further.
And there are some other pain points, some other challenges and difficulties around, being somebody who has a passion or a hobby. What are some of those things that, I know when I first started, I was up against certain things, but you guys have obviously felt it yourselves, and there's lots of, this podcast is going out to our mumpreneur community. What are the main pain points, the main difficulties surrounding people in getting their product or service out there?
One key aspect in the digital age is you really need a proper website, a web presence, to really get your name out there, and then driving traffic to said web presence. It's a very simple one-page website. That seems to be a bit of a hurdle for a lot of people in terms of quality control and how to actually tell your story. And what we're trying to develop at the moment is to is a system that lets you do all that almost semi-automatically.